The hayloft floor gave way under Natalie's weight with a crack like a gunshot. She fell 8 feet into darkness, landing hard on something that wasn't ground. Her flashlight rolled away, its beam catching edges of metal and glass before going dark. Above her, through the hole she'd made, evening sky showed purple through the collapsed barn roof. "Mom." 7-year-old Lily's voice came from outside, tight with fear. "Mom, are you okay?" "I'm fine, baby. Stay there. Don't come in." Natalie's ribs screamed. Her hands searched the darkness, found her phone, thumbed it on. The screen's glow revealed what she'd landed on. A steel case, military grade, sealed with a combination lock. Beside it, another, and another, stacked like bricks, filling a hidden cellar she hadn't known existed. 3 days earlier, Natalie sat on the apartment steps with the eviction order in one hand and her last $17 in the other. The paper was official, final, 48 hours to vacate. Behind her, Lily colored quietly at the kitchen table, pretending not to understand what the orange notice on the door meant. They'd lasted 9 months here, longer than the last place. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered because unknown numbers were sometimes job interviews, sometimes miracle calls from social workers who'd found emergency housing. "Ms. Natalie Porter?" "Yes. This is Edmund Voss with Whitfield and Associates. I'm calling regarding the estate of Harold Porter. I understand he was your father?" Natalie's throat tightened. "I'm sorry to inform you that Mr. Porter passed away 6 weeks ago. Heart attack. We've been trying to locate next of kin. You're listed as his sole heir. I haven't seen my father in 14 years. Not since he told her getting pregnant at 19 was her problem, not his. Not since he'd shut the door in her face when she'd asked for help with baby formula. What did he leave? Bills. Actually, Ms. Porter, he left you property. 43 acres in rural Montana, including a barn structure. The property is unimproved. No utilities, no residents. The barn is reportedly in poor condition, but it's yours, free and clear. Taxes paid for next year." Natalie looked at Lily, at the eviction notice, at the apartment that had never been home. "Where in Montana?" "Outside a town called Whitlow. Population 847. Ms. Porter, I should tell you, the property is quite remote. There's no viable sale market. Your father purchased it for $3,000 in 1989. Current assessed value is approximately $5,000. If you'd like to sign a quitclaim deed, we can't. No. I'll take it." Silence. "You will take it. Can I live there? Build on it? Legally?" "Yes, though you'd need permits for any structure. But Ms. Porter, there's no water, no power, no." "Thank you, Mr. Voss. Send me the paperwork." She hung up and did the math. $17. A quarter tank of gas. 600 miles to Montana. They'd have to sleep in the car, eat from gas station shelves. But at the end of those 600 miles was land. Hers. Where no landlord could tape orange papers to the door. "Lily, baby, pack your backpack. We're going on an adventure." The Honda died 40 miles outside Whitlow. Natalie coasted to the shoulder of a two-lane highway surrounded by endless prairie and mountains that looked like teeth against the sky. No cars passed. Her phone showed one bar. She called the only number Mr. Voss had given her, a local surveyor who'd agreed to meet them at the property. "Alternators gone," the surveyor said when he arrived an hour later in a dusty pickup. His name was Jack Emery, weathered and 60. "Nearest mechanics in Whitlow. I can tell you, or I can take you to the property first. Your call." "Property first," Natalie said. Everything she owned was in the car. She couldn't leave it. Jack nodded. "Throw your bags in the back." The barn appeared through a line of cottonwood trees, and Natalie's heart sank. It wasn't collapsed. It was actively collapsing, walls buckling, roof caved in on the north side. The structure leaned like a drug, held up by hope and stubbornness. "Yep," Jack said. "That's about what I expected. Can we sleep in it?" He gave her a long look. "Ma'am, I wouldn't walk in it, let alone sleep." Lily tugged Natalie's sleeve. "Mommy, where's the house?" "We're going to build one, baby." Natalie's voice was bright, automatic. "Won't that be fun?" Jack cleared his throat. "Ms. Porter, you got money for building?" "No." "Tools?" "No." "Place to stay while you figure it out." Natalie looked at the barn, at the land stretching away to nothing, at Lily's face already showing the resignation of a child who'd learned not to hope. "We'll make it work." Jack sighed. "There's a motel in Whitlow. $40 a night. I'll cover tonight. Call it a welcome gift. Tomorrow you can come back. Assess things properly. You got a flashlight? In the car. Don't use it in that barn. Structure's unstable. You go poking around. Whole thing might come down on your head. They spent that night in a motel room with brown carpet and a TV that only got 3 channels. Lily fell asleep with her shoes on, exhausted from the drive. Natalie lay awake calculating. $17 minus gas they'd used. $11 left. The car would cost at least $500 to fix. She had no job, no prospects, no plan beyond survival. At midnight, she walked outside and called her ex-husband. Natalie. Wow. It's been what, 2 years? I need help, Marcus. Emergency. Can you? Still can't manage money, huh? Look, I'd love to help, but Ashley and I just bought a boat, and she hung up. In the morning, Jack picked them up. Changed my mind about one thing, he said. Barn's dangerous, but if you're careful, really careful, you might salvage some lumber before it comes down completely. Could sell it, get money for your car. They approached the barn in daylight. It looked worse than yesterday, more broken, more hopeless. Stay outside, Lily, Natalie said. She stepped through the gaping doorway, testing each floorboard. The ground level was empty except for rotted hay and bird nests. But there was a loft, accessible by a ladder with half its rungs missing. Your father stored anything up there. It'd be drier at least, Jack called. Might be worth checking. Natalie climbed carefully. The loft floor groaned. She took another step. The wood gave way, and she fell into the secret that would change everything. Natalie sat in the hidden cellar, her phone's light revealing steel case after steel case. Her hands shook as she tried the nearest lock. Combination. She pulled at it anyway. Nothing. Mom. Lily's voice wavered. I'm okay, baby. Mr. Jack, can you help me up? Jack lowered a rope. Natalie climbed out, ribs screaming, and stood in the hayloft staring down at the hole. The cases gleamed in the shadows below. What's down there? Jack moved closer. Storage. Old military cases, looks like. Lock. Jack's expression shifted. Your dad was Navy. Vietnam era. He ever mention anything? We didn't talk. Natalie's mind raced. Why would her father, who'd called her worthless, who'd refused to help when she'd been desperate, leave her property with a secret cellar? Can we get them out? Not safely. Not with the structure this unstable. Jack rubbed his jaw. But if they're military surplus, might be worth something to collectors. Let me make a call. The call connected Jack to Tom Wexler, a military historian in Billings who made the 3-hour drive that afternoon. He was 45, precise, with the careful movements of someone who handled valuable things. He brought cutting tools and a portable winch. Navy cases, he said. See for yourself. Tom descended into the cellar on a harness. His flashlight beam swept the space. He was quiet for a long time. Mr. Wexler? Natalie called down. How many are there? I counted 17 from up here. More silence. Then, I'm bringing one up. Don't touch it until I examine it. The winch groaned. The case emerged, larger than Natalie had realized. 3 feet long, 2 feet wide. Heavy enough that Tom struggled with the weight. He set it on solid ground outside the barn and pulled a tool kit from his truck. Military locks from this era, if I'm right about the year, have a master code. Standard for emergency access. His hands moved quickly. Plick, plick. The lock opened. Tom lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in foam, gold bars. Stamped with dates and serial numbers. 12 of them. Natalie's vision blurred. That's not real. It's real. Tom's voice was careful. These are 1 kilogram bars. Singapore Mint, 1970s. Used for payment in certain operations. Black market currency during the war. How much? Current gold price, about $60,000 per kilo. 12 bars, $720,000 per case. He looked at the barn, at the hole in the floor, at Natalie. You said 17 cases? Natalie did the math. 720,000 times 17. $12,240,000. Her legs went out. She sat down hard on the ground. Tom kept talking, professional, detached. If these are what I think they are, payment for intelligence operations smuggled out during the fall of Saigon. They've been missing for almost 50 years. The government's looked for them. Collector value, historical value. Ms. Porter, this isn't just gold. This is a piece of history. Is it legal? Natalie's voice sounded far away. Can they take it? If it's inherited property on your land, it's yours. but you'll need lawyers. Authentication. Security. Tom pulled out his phone. I know people. Specialists. This is the kind of find that makes careers. If you're following Natalie's story, subscribe now, because what's buried in that cellar is worth more than anyone imagined. Over the next week, Tom brought in his team. They worked carefully, extracting each case, documenting everything. Natalie and Lily stayed in the motel. Tom paid, insisted on it, while experts descended on the property. The authentication came back on day 9. 23 cases total, hidden in a cellar built specifically for storage. Not 17. 23. The gold was real. Singapore Mint, dated 1973 to 1975. Total weight, 276 kilograms. Market value at current prices, $16,640,000. But there was more. In 3 cases, beneath the gold, documents. Sealed in waterproof containers. Letters. Photographs. Mission reports. Intelligence. Files from operations that had never been declassified. The historian Tom brought in, Dr. Sarah Chun from Berkeley, handled them with gloves, her face pale. This is classified material. Active classified. This could rewrite what we know about the war's final years. Is that illegal? Natalie asked. For your father to have taken them? Possibly. For you to possess them now. Sarah's smile was wry. That's complicated. But Ms. Porter, the historical value of these documents, to researchers, to the government itself, is enormous. Archives would pay millions just for access. Natalie sat in the motel room that night with Lily asleep beside her. Her phone showed text from Marcus. He'd heard somehow, through mutual friends. We should talk about Lily's future. She deserves stability. I'm prepared to pursue custody if. She blocked his number. Another text, this one from Jack, lady from the State Department is here. Wants to talk about the documents. Thought you should know. Natalie drove out to the property at dawn. The State Department representative was nervous, holding a briefcase. Ms. Porter, I'm Claire Matheson. We need to discuss the classified materials found on your property. Are you taking them? That depends. We're prepared to offer compensation for cooperation. The documents contain sensitive intelligence. How much? Claire blinked. I'm sorry. How much are you offering? We'd need to assess. Dr. Chun says archives would pay millions. I assume you'd pay more to keep them out of archives. Natalie's voice was steady. She'd spent 14 years scrambling, apologizing, making herself small. Not today. Make an offer. Claire made a phone call. Then another. By noon, a man in a suit arrived with paperwork. The offer, $12 million for the documents. Full legal immunity for possession. NDA regarding contents. Payment within 30 days. Plus the gold, Natalie said. I keep the gold. Ms. Porter, that gold is potentially mine. It was on my property. Inherited legally. No evidence of theft. You want the documents? Fine. But the gold is mine. The suit made another call. Agreed. The gold sold at auction 3 weeks later. Collectors and museums bid aggressively, not just for the metal, but for the provenance. Gold smuggled out of Vietnam, hidden for 5 decades, discovered in a collapsed Montana barn. The story itself added value. Final price, $41,200,000. Plus the $12 million from state. After taxes, fees, and lawyer costs, Natalie cleared $38 million. She took Lily back to the property on a cool autumn morning. The barn was gone. Demolished safely, the cellar filled in. But the land remained. 43 acres of prairie and cottonwoods, mountains in the distance. We're building here, Natalie said. A real house. With a big kitchen and your own room. Will we have to leave? Never. This is ours, baby. Forever. The architect's plans covered Natalie's new desk in her temporary office, a double-wide trailer on the property, while construction began. Simple house, for bedrooms, designed to fit the land. Solar panels, well water, built to last. Lily was in school now. Whitlow Elementary, 15 kids per grade, where the teacher had cried when Natalie donated new computers and library books. For all the kids, Natalie had said. Not just Lily. Her phone rang. Marcus. She'd unblocked him only because the lawyer said she had to maintain contact for custody paperwork. Natalie, we need to discuss visitation. No. I'm her father. I have rights. You signed them away in the divorce. You wanted nothing to do with her when I couldn't pay support. You told the judge I was unfit. remember? I was angry. I made mistakes. But now I have money, so suddenly you care. No, Marcus. Lily has stability. She has a home. You're not disrupting that. Natalie's voice was ice. My lawyers will handle anything else you want to discuss. She hung up and blocked him again. Some bridges weren't worth maintaining. Jack knocked on the trailer door, carrying coffee. He'd become a friend. More than that. Maybe, but neither of them rushed. Contractor says they'll break ground next week. Good. Natalie accepted the coffee. Jack, I want to ask you something. My father. Did you know him? Saw him around. He kept to himself. Came out to the property a few times a year, stayed a couple days, then left. Burying gold. Apparently. Jack sat across from her. You ever wonder why he left it to you? Every day. Tom found something yesterday. In the last case, under the foam. He wanted me to give it to you. Jack pulled an envelope from his jacket. Yellowed paper sealed. Natalie's name in her father's handwriting. Her hands shook as she opened it. Natalie, if you're reading this, I'm dead. Good. Means I don't have to see the look on your face when you realize I was never the man you thought I was. The gold was payment. Intelligence work in 73 to 75. Operations I can't name. I took it when Saigon fell because I knew the war was ending and men like me were disposable. I hid it because I didn't trust anyone. I pushed you away when you got pregnant because I was terrified. Terrified you'd end up like me. Alone, angry, trusting nothing. I thought if I cut you off, you'd find someone better. Build something real. I was wrong. I know that now. Too late to fix it. This land is the only thing I ever owned free and clear. The gold is everything I was too afraid to spend, too paranoid to invest, too broken to use building a life. It's yours now. All of it. Use it better than I did. Build something that matters. Be the parent I couldn't be. I'm sorry I failed you. Dad. Natalie read it twice. 3 times. Then she folded it carefully and put it in her desk drawer. You okay? Jack asked quietly. Yeah. She wiped her eyes. I am. That night, after Lily was asleep, Natalie sat outside the trailer watching stars appear over the mountains. Construction lights illuminated the foundation taking shape. Their house, their future. Her laptop showed the website she'd been building, the Porter Foundation. Mission, supporting single mothers in crisis. Emergency housing, job training, childcare assistance. Everything she'd needed and never had. She'd funded it with $5 million. The interest alone would help hundreds of families every year. Her phone buzzed. Email from Dr. Chun. The Smithsonian wants to do an exhibit on the intelligence operations. They're asking permission to include your father's story. Respectfully, with your input on how he's represented. Interested? Natalie typed back, yes. But tell them the truth. He was complicated. Broken. But he left something good behind. 3 months later, the house was finished. Real oak floors, windows facing the mountains, a kitchen where Lily helped bake cookies without worrying about eviction notices or shut-off warnings. Jack helped them move in. You know, he said, carrying boxes, property values. Around here have gone up. People heard about the gold, the story. Whitlow's got tourists now. Town council's talking about paving roads. Good for them. Natalie set a box in Lily's new room, painted yellow, with shelves for books and a window seat. We're staying. I know. Jack smiled. That's good too. The housewarming was small. Jack, Tom, Dr. John, a few teachers from Lily's school, the contractor who'd built the house. They stood in the living room, toasting with champagne and apple juice. To second chances, Tom said. To finding treasure, Dr. Chen added. Natalie looked at Lily, who was showing her room to anyone who'd look, her face bright with pride. To building something that matters. That night, after everyone left, Natalie stood on the porch watching the sun set over land that was hers. 43 acres. A collapsed barn secret. Her father's complicated legacy. She'd driven here with $17 and no options. She'd been dismissed, overlooked, counted out by everyone who was supposed to love her. But she'd survived. And in surviving, she'd found not just gold, but proof of something she'd always suspected, that being underestimated wasn't the same as being worthless. Inside, Lily called. Mom, can we read the chapter about the girl who finds the treasure? Natalie smiled. We already lived that story, baby. I know, but it's still my favorite. Natalie went inside to their warm, safe, permanent home. The Montana wind whispered through the cottonwoods. The mountains stood guard. And for the first time in her daughter's life, Natalie Porter didn't have to worry about where they'd sleep tomorrow. They were home. Finally, completely home.